What's going on, guys? ABNB is starting to look juicy to me. So what we can see is that from the start of Airbnb, it made this huge consolidation pattern that it eventually broke down from at 135. And then it came down and it started to create a potential double bottom or just another accumulation pattern here. It had a low of $82, and from that low, it ripped up. You can see that previously on the drop, when it bounced off of $86, it ripped up. It got a little bit of resistance here at 105, but it pretty much blew through it. The key resistance for Airbnb, where it could not close any candle bodies above, if we move this green box, actually in general, move this green box to get an exact price level, you can see right about here at 120.50, this was where we lost it originally. We tried to close a daily candle body above, but this was the last time that Airbnb saw that 120 for a while. It closed the candle body below 120.94. The next daily candle tapped that same level, and then we dipped. Now, after that, we found a nice low down here at 104-ish. We came up, and we continued to try to close a daily above. Eventually, we did get a daily above. This might be something to pay attention to as well. Somewhere between 123.04 and the other level I said was 121. This is where I pretty much had my green box. You can see at 123.04, we did the same thing. Rejection on the daily candle, and then we dropped pretty far. So that probably is a stronger level. Then we started coming back up. We tried to close it and hold it as support. We had a bunch of wicks up in this range here, which is why I have like a box, because it's not like perfect here. Pretty much, well, I wouldn't even go that high. I'd say pretty much from 124.60 to 120.42. We failed. We came back up. We tried again to do the same thing. Right here, 123.04 to 124.22. If we pull this all the way across to where we are now, we're coming back in to retest the same damn level. 123.50 is where we're at now. So you see how I do that. That's how I figure everything out. The rejection area that we got was perfectly on the previous support of this whole channel. So this could be a bearish sign where it just rejects off of this and it can't go above. However, coming back and finding support at this 123.04 area could be a very, very key buy zone. Now, right now, you can see we're getting a pretty nasty candle here on the 1 hour. So it is going to search for support. This support could range from right here, which we already lost. The 124.60 was this wick, down to the support of 121.06 to 185. This was an area as well that previously, if we do the same thing I always do with the candle bodies, you could go off of this one here at 120.38 if you want and check how that will look. Yeah, we couldn't close a candle body above. We failed. We came back. We back tested that, and then we dropped. But then when we came up, we had a huge wick right to that 120.31. Then eventually we had earnings and we blew through it. So for me, these are the two key supports that we want to see Airbnb hold. So if you're a long-term investor, this is what you want to watch. Because in my view, if you're sitting and waiting for these lows, it's possible that Airbnb doesn't get there yet. Maybe later in the year if we have another big correction dump. Another thing you could do is draw this uptrending support if we do break those levels, and that would be where we would potentially look for a buy, would be at 113.69. So for a potential swing trade idea, we'd want to see some support being found. Now, right now, this is still searching for support, so you can't just come in and start bidding. I mean, you could if you have a longer time frame. And then as far as like a nice breakout trade, really, for now, we only have 2 rejections, so you can't go off of too much. There's not too much that's showing anybody anything yet, but you could put that downtrending resistance right there and look for a bounce back, maybe a rejection, and then another fall, and then a double bottom, and then a breakout, and then it rips up a little bit, makes maybe a new high above this, and then that rejection there comes back tests that trend line, and that could enter you as well. But right now it's on a little bit of a free fall. You know, if you look at a 1 minute, you can see it's trying to make a small little double bottom right here at 123.50. Not too bad of a thought, but you do have to, I wouldn't come in and buy it personally. I'd be looking at 124.35 for the short term, because you can see how many damn 1 minute wicks came up to that level. And then as well as this 124.50. This is very short term. Now, right now we are still on the free fall. So you see it didn't make a lower low. It didn't make a double bottom there. Put a trend line across here. You can do that as well for a 1 minute. Just kind of like a little guide on like what's going on. If you're actually watching this thing real time like we are, you can kind of look at it like a falling channel. But it is searching for support right now. So I don't even care about any of that. I do care about this. So if we don't want to buy the exact bottom, or we can't figure out the exact bottom, like I have this 123.04, not a bad idea, but you'd have to stop it below 121. So that's where your risk comes in. Do you want to risk that amount? And what if it breaks through, goes to 113, then you're like, fuck, that was a terrible idea. So, or maybe 120.30. So anyway, this whole pretty much range is where Airbnb might be heading into. We'll have to see what happens here. Does it bounce off this 123.04, come back and back test it again, and then start confirming this W pattern, and then rips up, gets rejected here, comes back, and then decides if it wants to potentially reclaim this 124.50. I think for now the best thing to say, just based off of this 1 minute pattern here and what we have for daily price action, is to keep an eye on the 124.50. If we can clear 124.50 today and start finding support above, that would be your trade, depending on where this decides to bounce. If it comes back up here eventually, comes back, whatever it does, if you start closing candle bodies above, that would be your play for potentially for the day. And then you have to look for where is the resistance. So you obviously have this consolidation right here to perfectly play for the day trade aspect, or the next 2 days, whatever your time frame is that you want to do. Put a box right here. This is where most likely Airbnb would head to retest previous support, which is 126.48. That's a pretty good move if we do find a bottom down here. Could be like a $3 move if you're entering here. If you do want to take the trade and take my idea on the 123.04, I can't guarantee you that's going to be the exact level, because sometimes it does work out pretty nicely. But if we break that, you would have to put a stop loss, depending on your risk, of course, because, looking at this pump right here, this kind of gives you an idea of where would Airbnb find support. And off of this pump, we had consolidation right here. And then we ripped. So all of this is almost, in a sense, no resistance according to what happened in this move. So usually that can give you a guide on most likely it comes back to 120.40. So maybe we would play a 120.40 and you could stop loss it below. That's $5 risk. I don't like that. You'd have to stop loss it maybe like $1 or $2 under. So I guess it's a little bit challenging here. You'd have to look at this consolidation as well. It's hard to pick an idea off of like a, buying an exact level. Where do I put my stop loss? But this little channel right here is also going to be important. So we kind of have a big range. I know I'm jumping around from like all different numbers, but it looks like it's a 124.50 to 116 range here. And I'd like to see this box flip as support. So really it's from 119.18 to 120.32, but we'll see how this plays out first, because, usually things don't go straight down. They find a little support. They get a nice little double bottom here. You bounce, you retest, then you come back down. And if you want to fail and make a new low, then, shit can happen like that. So maybe that's something that ends up occurring. And then, maybe it finds a random level here. Everyone thinks it's a buy, comes back up, rejects again, comes down, makes another low. And then eventually it finds its actual support. And then it makes this little double bottom, and it breaks out of this downtrending, what so far has become a downtrending resistance. So this is also something to watch. If you're not into buying exact bottom type of things, you can wait for the downtrending resistance to break out, which is what I like to do. And usually by the time you get to that point, it's at a pretty significant, could be at a pretty good low here, where it trends down here, finds its bottom, breaks out, back tests it, and then it starts breaking that key area. you can watch all of your previous levels that you were watching, and you'll see prices starting to become bullish because it's back testing those areas. So anyway, I got to let you go because I got some trades that I'm trying to get into. I just wanted to put this one out there for an idea. Right now, we are breaking that 123.04 as you see. If you look on the 1 minute, see if there's getting any type of significant bounce. Not really yet. So it is searching. It is searching. So it's not really something to get in just yet. Let's let it find a bottom, see where it decides to get a good bounce, maybe breaks a high to show you that, hey, this is a really good area. But right now you can see that technically on the 1 minute, we have not closed below that 123.04, so it could still be a pretty good level. You could even bring it down to this wick and say that, but I still like the 23.04. See how we're almost on 23.04 right there. So 123.03 is where the price is right now. So anyway, this is going to be a huge level in my view. If we do break this and we start resisting under it, then I'd be looking for it to come down to 120.31 and then maybe as low as 119.62. But this is kind of where I would put in a trade. Not right now because it's not showing us anything. But it is a key level that I would probably be keeping an eye on. You could do a little 1 minute, falling thing and see if it comes out of here and then maybe breaks up, and it's probably going to get rejected again, and then retest this level and kind of choose what it wants to do. So that's why you don't just come in and buy this right now, even though it looks like a good level overall. I am going to just wait and see how low it wants to go. Maybe it comes down here to 119.64, and then that's where the buyers really step in. So that's what I'd be watching. And then watch the downtrending resistance that we drew in here and watch this previous consolidation as well. So there's a lot of things that still it's going to have to redo in order to maybe get some kind of price action to happen here. So let's just keep an eye. See, it's still not closing candle bodies below. This might end up being a good support. We'll have to see. But I got to let you guys go. I got some trades to look at.